So do we start?
And we're live from Casino, Arizona, CAZ Sports Bar. Mike Gross, Mike Bauer, Jackson Groff. Saturday, happy to have you aboard and hanging out with us as we take you up to 1 o'clock today here on the station. And it's another great Saturday out here at Casino, Arizona. We're sitting in the CAZ Sports Bar, as I said, looking at the Sportsbook. And that board of games that you can take advantage of, Jackson, is full. They got NBA, NFL, NHL, and, of course, college football. Come on out and see us here at the Casino, Arizona, CAZ Sports Bar. TV's all over the place, man.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to see a game, you could just say, hey, I want this certain game from maybe a Division II or a Big Sky, any kind of game. They'll get it for you here at the CAZ Sports Bar.
We got Navy and Notre Dame, and I know you and Bauer like to talk about that. You being the big Notre Dame fan and him being the big not Notre Dame fan.
Yeah, he's just salty. You know, he's got some teams like the Bears who aren't doing well. I don't know whose college team. He's an ASU grad, not doing well there. So, yeah, he doesn't like Notre Dame, and not a lot of people do. But Notre Dame continues to win. Obviously, they beat Clemson last week. Talk about Marcus Freeman. They were 0-2 to start the season, and they beat Clemson. They're now 20th ranked. I mean, kudos to them because a lot of people said Marcus Freeman should be out after 2 games, and he's turned that program around.
And I think when we talk about Notre Dame, and we'll revisit our Final Four picks, we made college football playoff picks. They might not be as bad as Desmond Howard's, but I had Notre Dame in mind.
Me too.
And I think that might have been a year premature. I think that might have been a little bit because you look at the recruiting class that they're putting together there. This is a Notre Dame team that's built for the long haul, and I know the expectations are high every year there, but there just might have been a year premature. They bounced back, and they're going to. It looks like they're finishing the season strong. Still got that big game coming up last weekend of the year against Southern Cal. All right, setting the stage for us today. Coming up in just a little bit, we'll visit with Hode Rubino. It's been a minute since we've done a little bit of a deep dive on the ASU Sun Devils, and I don't think we've had Hode on this year. So good to catch up with Hode and see what's going on and get his thoughts on the Devils as they travel up to the Palouse to play Washington State. You know about playing up there in that part of the world. It can be tough. We'll check the weather as part of our breakdown of ASU and Washington State because it's always a factor in November. Then at 12:30, his regular visit, Marco D'Angelo from WagerTalk.com. We do a couple college, couple pro games with him at Marco in Vegas. And you think it's busy at the CAZ Sports Bar. They're action-packed there at WagerTalk.com. So we look forward to catching up with Marco here in hour number 2. And then at the end of this hour, if you want a chance to win a gift certificate just for beating Jeff Hoodzone, I'll let you tell people how easy that's been lately.
Oh.
What's Jeff's record here on the Pick'em contest?
Folks, this is a $50 gift certificate.
Yeah.
And you have a chance to win a 75-inch big TV, 4K. I mean, it's the best high-definition 4K. And then a smart TV on top of that. Like, this is a great deal. He's not doing too hot right now. He's currently 15-22. He went 2-1 last week, but Hood's out. I mean, he's not having a great year. I'm not as well, but I mean,
you're not giving away gift cards.
I'm not giving away a gift card. Exactly. might as well call the number and have a chance to beat Hoods out and get a $50 gift card. But man, gross. What an atmosphere we got here. It's Saturday here at the CAZ Sports Bar. It's popping.
All right.
I'm excited to get the opening line here
Let's
going.
Do it.
Let's do it. College football we always talk college football because that's the biggest sport in America. And every single weekend we have some college football games going on as well. So currently, folks, Notre Dame at Navy, they're up 21-6, and the spread on
15.5 that one went off at, and the total was 39.5.
Really, 39.5.
Yep, that's what I got here.
They're on track to probably get the over here. They're at 27.
That game being played in Baltimore, just up the road from Annapolis, Maryland, a neutral site game officially. But it looks like it's mainly Notre Dame fans in the crowd. But I get it. And I was telling you that. I don't mind when you get a team like Notre Dame on your schedule and you can move it up the road, have the city or whoever runs that stadium in Baltimore pay a few bucks and pay some some bills in the athletic department. Why not?
Yeah.
Do you ever play money games at? I think we talked about this at when you played at Montana.
Money games,
like where you guys got a check to go to a big school.
Yeah, no, we played Washington last year. We beat Washington.
Yeah,
upset them. They were the number 20 seed in the country. Came in there, we beat them. We also got a fat check, $750,000.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
you beat them and you took their lunch money.
Yeah.
I love games like that.
Exactly. And for those out there wondering, yes, Navy threw a pass. They threw a pass for 34 yards. Their quarterback is 1 for 2 for 34 yards, and they got 144 yards running the ball as well. And we are about 9 minutes into the second quarter.
Circle your calendar, though. With all due respect, we will do a deep dive to the Commander-in-Chief game. First Saturday of December, Army, Navy. Air Force has already secured the trophy, the rivalry games between the service academies, but that Army-Navy game, you talk about your sports bucket list, it's on mine.
I'm excited to see the uniforms they have out because it seems like every single year they have some swaggy, different type of uniforms that they bring to that game. It's always a great – I mean, what was it, yesterday or 2 days ago when the college basketball, it was Gonzaga at Michigan State. They brought it back on the
carrier, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. A great tradition. I love when they do that, especially for the veterans out there. It's a great time. So, yeah. All right. As we move forward in the college football slate here today, we got number 2, Ohio State against Indiana. Ohio State's up 28-7. Gross, what was the spread in the over-under for this game?
Take a look at that one. Ohio State, Indiana. Ohio State was a 4-0 point favorite in that one from Columbus. Point total was 58.5, according to the good folks at Casino Arizona. So if you got here at 9 o'clock and wanted a piece of that action, 40.
That's just so many points.
That's so many points.
So many points. And it's like, I understand, like, Ohio State's a really good team and Indiana's kind of struggling this year, but 40 points? It'd be crazy if they cover, but we'll have to see on that one. We'll keep you guys updated. And then the other game, we got some more games on the schedule here. Number 5, Tennessee, home to Missouri. They're currently driving on Missouri's 19-yard line, up 14-7, looking to put 7 more on the board against Missouri.
20.5 was where that one went off. 57 was the total. As the Volunteers look to build on that 8-1 record and number 5 ranking this morning, I guess our time there in Knoxville.
And then LSU, number 7 LSU, in a tight game right now against Arkansas. LSU last weekend, big upset against Alabama. We'll see how they respond here. It's 3-3 right now, currently in the second quarter.
The interesting one on that one, Jackson, is the point spread at the start called for a tight game. It was a 3.5 point favorite was LSU going to that one. But what they expected, the odds maker expected, was a heck of a lot more points. I mean, we're moving through midway part of the second quarter. 6 total points have been scored in that one. They had that number at 62. Whew. So if you had the under on that one, you're feeling pretty good going to halftime, LSU and Arkansas.
Yeah, and it's supposed to. I think it's snowy there too. So the weather always plays a factor in these games. And
I love that. There were Max. You and I both follow Max Preps on social media, and the high school football games in that part of the world. The storm that kind of dusted us a little bit midweek made its way through the central part of the country. Oklahoma getting some snow, northern part of Texas getting some snow, and now Arkansas getting some weather. And I love it. I absolutely love it because this part of the world you don't expect to see weather like that impacting a game. And I just think it's fun. I love it.
Yeah, it's like Arizona right now. These night games are getting a little chilly. It's kind of something that we're not used to this early in November.
Hey, before we get out of here, Jackson, in our opening segment, we'll take a look at the Arizona schools. As ASU is on the road, we mentioned it a moment ago, they're in Pullman, Washington. And you played at Idaho, but Idaho has a dome, don't they?
Yeah, they got a dome.
So you don't know about that up there in that part. It's beautiful country for sure. And then, of course, Arizona is in Los Angeles to play the Bruins. And we'll go back to the ASU Washington State game in a minute. But ASU at UCLA, 19.5. UCLA is a favorite there. Probably no surprise. And the other interesting part of that one is, and I can't say this is a fact because I'm scanning it quickly as we do a live radio show, 77.5 points is the total in that one. That is ridiculous for a number like that. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then, as we said, Arizona State, they play at Washington State. Washington State, 8-point favorite in that one. Over-under sits at 59.5 here at Casino Arizona. as we look at that one. And we'll talk to Hode Rubino coming up in the show about what to expect from ASU as they travel to play Washington State today. Usually that game, ASU goes up there because the north-south thing, you don't see it all the time, but it's usually this time of year. I remember Halloween games for some reason, Arizona State at Washington State. And it's a tough trip to begin with, to get there from Phoenix, Arizona to Pullman, Washington. I think you got to fly to Spokane and bust down.
I think it's Spokane. We drove. We were from Missoula all the way to Moscow, which is close to Pullman, Washington as well. But I mean, Pullman's a tough place to play. Wazoo, the Sun Devils are going to have their hands full against Wazoo. They're a tough team to play.
They are absolutely a tough team to play. That game kicks off at about 1:30 our time, as at least that's in their favor playing a day game. Nighttime up in there, you never know what's going to go down. And a daytime high today in Pullman, Washington, 39 degrees. Doesn't look like precipitation is going to be an issue. So that game should be played for the most part for the Devils with a temperature in and around the high 70s. So you'll take that every chance you get, Pullman, Washington, in early November. All right, we'll step aside here, take care of some business. You're listening to Take the Points from the CAZ Sports Bar. We're on Fox Sports 910.
Can't hear anything.
No idea what's going on.
That sucks because you can't even get phone calls.
You can't get home.
Marco said this. Okay.
What happened?
I was just saying, like, you can't hear.
Nobody's. Hey, any idea what's going on?
What was that?
Any idea what's going on? We don't hear a thing still.
Yeah, I called my boss and everything, and I have everything set up the way it's supposed to be. But I can hear you guys on cue. Everything went fine on the first segment. But I don't know how it's going to work with your guest. Hopefully, he can hear you. You can hear him. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Should we disconnect and reconnect, or what?
Should we disconnect and reconnect on our end? I mean.
Sure. Can you do that in 3 minutes?
Oh, yeah, we'll do it right now. Hang on. We'll keep you on the line while we do it. All right.
Yeah.
All right, we're disconnected. Now we're reconnected. Maybe I'll just turn it off and turn it back on.
All right.
Moments.
We're rebooting just to be sure. That'll take about a minute. I'll call you right back.
All right, sounds good. I'll be right back. Let's go talk to someone else.
All right.
Be right back.
He's like, you're live.
What the fuck are we supposed to do? Like,
Yeah.
do we? I don't even have his number.
Yeah, because we can't do any phone calls. Can't get Hot on. We can't get Jeff on. We can't get Marco on. Hopefully this works.
What's the guy's name? Ryan?
Yeah. Online. Combreak 2. We're connected. I mean, they can hear us. I don't understand what's going on.
Jeez.
Well, we improv. Jeez. Hopefully they get out. At least for Marco. That's the most important thing is just Marco get on. Or you can get him on your phone and just do this. Jeez.
We're at the CAZ Sports Bar Casino, Arizona. Thanks for hanging out with us. Jackson Groff, Mike Gross, Mike Bauer taking you up to 1 o'clock this afternoon. Lots of great action out here at CAZ Sports Bar as the games are going. And I forgot, I said 9 o'clock. And I think it was they started at 10 now with the time change.
Yeah,
I get so confused with all the daylight savings stuff that we do or don't do and everything like that. Hey, we want to remind you that AZTV Channel 7 is your new home for college football here in Arizona, featuring schools that have produced some of the game's best athletes. Great football, high-energy halftime bands, and coverage you won't find on any other station. This week's game is Albany State at Florida A&M. That kicks off at 3 o'clock on AZTV Channel 7 here in the Valley. All right, we are going to have Hode Rubino from Devil's Digest later on in the show. We want to catch up with him. ASU, as we said, is at Washington State today. They play just after 1:30 our time. And, Bauer, keep me honest here because I said it at the outset, and I never know what the heck I'm talking about. But doesn't it seem like you all of a sudden, you keep me honest on at Washington? See it because the North and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But when we do have ASU traveling up to Pullman, it always feels like it's Halloween or early November where weather's going to be an issue for some reason. I don't know why. It's not like we get early games in the beautiful fall weather in the Palouse.
Yeah, well, just the way the schedule works out, it seems like, the Sun Devils, it seems like most years when you're talking about either Oregon State, and if you remember that season a few years ago with Todd Graham and the Sun Devils are cruising and looking at maybe a playoff spot, and they went and they just absolutely soiled the sheets at Oregon State in a mess. But it's the same thing here. I feel like when you head up to the Palouse, it's always some sort of weird weather game or something like that. And there was last segment we were talking about just kind of getting there. It's not like you fly. You don't fly into Pullman, Washington. The Sun Devils flew into a nearby regional airport last night, and it was, that's how they get there. And it's essentially like right at a cliff. It's a weird airport to fly in. I'm texting with our buddy Sean Crespin, who's part of the broadcast team.
You asked him. I asked him the same question.
He says it's like it's right on a cliff, and they had to drive up, and you got to bus over, and I don't exactly know where the team's staying right now, but in the past they had to stay in Moscow, in Idaho, and then drive across to Pullman because there aren't any hotels in Pullman, Washington that are large enough for a football team. So it's always an interesting road trip.
Yeah.
And you're right, though. It always does seem like it's Halloween. It's this time of the year because, beginning of the season, you get the non-conference. And then it always seems like you kind of get that Oregon State or that Washington State game is this time of the year. And there's just some weird stuff that goes on.
It's funny you said that because when we played Idaho last year, we stayed in Pullman. Our football team did, but also for the Big Sky, there was not as many members because I believe it's like 55 you can only travel, and obviously Pac-12 has probably got more rules. You can travel like
300.
The whole squad and stuff like that. So it's kind of crazy how. Like you said, they're staying in Moscow. We stayed in Pullman, but that'll be a tough place to play.
Lewiston, Idaho. They fly into
Lewiston, Idaho. Wow. I want to talk to you guys. Obviously,
the bustling metropolis of Lewiston, Idaho. By the way,
pretty country.
There's 8 people there.
The Territorial Cup's coming up soon, guys.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
I'm just kidding.
Arizona State, Arizona right now. Both teams are 3-6. Which team do you think is in the best position for that game? I mean, obviously Arizona, I think they're the best, probably 3-6 team in the country. I mean, it's 4 tough games. They got UCLA. They're about to play 5 ranked teams in a row. Yeah, what are you guys' thoughts?
Here's what I think right now about those 2 teams, and I don't know what it means for the Territorial Cup just yet. But these are 2 teams that are on elevators going in opposite directions, right? I think you heard the offseason chatter about how well Arizona recruited and how they're building back a program that was absolutely decimated by Kevin Sumlin. Kevin Sumlin, he ignored recruiting for it seems like 3 years. And you can't do that at any level of football, much less a Power 5 conference. And so great recruiting classes are good for the future. It doesn't mean you're going to get transfers and freshmen that come in and build something that's going to overnight turn into even a competitive or bowl eligible team. So they're on the way up, but it's going to take a year or two more for them to get where they want this program to be. But I think you can see the direction. And we've talked about this before, and I don't want to make this segment about bagging on ASU, but they're on an elevator that's headed the other way, right? You know, they cobbled together a team with guys in the transfer portal, which has worked out in some cases, maybe not in other cases. But their recruiting was decimated a year ago. It's not much better this year. And I worry about what the long-term implications is to this program. Are they going to turn into an Arizona Wildcat program from that standpoint for a couple of years until they find out what the NCAA is going to do and until they name their head coach? Now, what does that mean for this game coming up at the end of the season? Who knows? It's a rivalry game, so you know what you say about that. Toss out the records, but I think
5 minutes.
ASU is more talented than Arizona right now. So if I had to make a pick right now, I'd take ASU, but who knows?
See, I think the opposite, because I think U of A they're able to score points so fluently on offense. You can't, they can't stop anybody, but they're also unstoppable on offense.
I can't wait to your point. I can't wait to see the over/under for that game.
Oh my gosh, I think it's got to be like 70. Actually, maybe like 56. You think? I don't know.
What did I say tonight's ASU or Arizona UCLA game is?
Yeah, you said it was 72.5.
I said it was 77.5.
Oh, that's even worse.
77.5. And Marco said it last week when he was talking about UCLA against ASU, who, whatever. He said, if UCLA wants to, they will easily score 50 on this ASU defense. So if UCLA could easily score 50 on ASU, what are they going to do tonight against Arizona? Add a touchdown to that. UCLA might go over 60 tonight.
UCLA hits the over by themselves. Is that what you're thinking?
Close. I think, look, Arizona's doing –
As a Sun Devil fan, I'm here for it. Let's go. Go Bruins.
Well, it's not a compliment to ASU, what I'm saying. It's
hey, I'll take what I can get.
Because they called off the Dogs late in that one and still scored 50.
That's true.
So
56.
Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll visit with Hode Rubino, and we'll talk about this ASU team, where they're at right now as we sit second week of November. Lots going on with that team, but lots of questions. And Jackson, I think bringing it up it's a good jumping off point, because I don't have a good answer to any of it. But you can't feel good about ASU long term with these big questions looming or lingering or whatever the right word is. And again, I'm not close to it like you Bauer. You're closer to this ASU thing than I am. But
I went to the game last week. It was a lot of fun. We stayed warm, and we're very depressed when we left.
But long term, like. If it was a stock, if you were a banker and you're talking about ASU as a stock long term,
nope, pass.
You got pass. You can't. There's too many unknowns.
I mean, if it was a stock, I hope that I sold about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. If it was a stock, I hope I'm not holding it right now.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. The other side is, I don't know that either one of these teams gets bowl eligible. I mean, they're both sitting at 3.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
I'm looking at Arizona.
Well, one of them is going to get a win between now and the end of the year, because
so there's your 4.
Yeah,
there's one.
Arizona plays Oregon State and they play Wazoo too.
Okay.
No, sorry. They play Oregon State next week after they play.
Well, here I've got Arizona State in front of me. Washington State, home against Oregon State, at Arizona. Does ASU have enough to run the table?
No. ASU would have to run the table.
Right, both of them
ASU will not run the table.
And then
same thing for U of A.
Same thing for U of A. U of A and Jackson hit the nail on the head. This Pac-12 conference lineup for them, that was a gauntlet. When you go Oregon, Washington, USC, Utah, and finish it up with UCLA, you might be right. When it gets to the Territorial Cup game, they might be like, the only good thing is they play on the road tonight, last 2 games for them at home.
But for U of A, this is a team that at one point in time was thinking, hey, this is going to be a bowl season. I mean, how did they start off the season? They started off the season going to a rising San Diego State program, opening up a new stadium. They get a road win, and then they were able to put a couple other wins on the board in the first few weeks of the season.
I don't know who at Arizona thought it was a bowl game or bowl season when you lost to California.
All of the fans.
When you lost to California, that dream went out the window. Hey, we're going to focus on ASU next. We'll catch up with our good friend Hode Rubino. That's coming up next on Fox Sports 910.
Take the
Again, taking it to 1 o'clock today here on the station. We're out at the CZ Sports Bar, Casino, Arizona. We've been talking about it this morning. ASU at Washington State. The Cougs, an 8-point favorite. Over-under on that one is set at 59.5. Kickoff right around 1:30 on the Pac-12 network. And here to talk to us about ASU football. Haven't had him on for a while anyways.
I'm just amazing his phone works in Pullman, Washington.
It's Hode Rubino from Devil's Digest. Hode, how are you doing today?
And I'll tell you what, Jack, I'm not going to badmouth Pullman, man. This weather that they have in store for us, beautiful sunny skies, only 37 degrees, no snow, no ice, no rain. I'm good with Pullman today.
There you go. Hey, Hode, you're there. We were talking about getting from Phoenix, Arizona to Pullman, Washington. How did you navigate that trip? Tell us the Hode journey yesterday.
Well, I mean, I know that the team flew into, I believe it's Moscow, Idaho, just over the border, and bus from there. I think it's about an hour. But I think that all the media covering the game took the same route that I did. Just flying to Spokane. It's about an hour, 20-minute drive from there. Spokane actually is a pretty nice city, and I definitely recommend it if you're ever in these neck of the woods. So yeah, not really too hard. I mean, the university is in the middle of nowhere, but really getting to and from the university is not hard.
All right, so here we are. As I said, kickoff just after 1:30, and here we, ASU sitting at 3-6. It's been rough, right? But there's been some bright spots. So kind of assess for our listeners, where you think this ASU team is November 12th, with everything that's been going on.
Well, look, I mean, the obvious storyline is just not playing quarterback Trent Bourget earlier in the year. And the game against Stanford, a game where your defense played superbly, kept Stanford on their home turf out of the end zone, and he's still not able to come away from the win because Bourget did not play even one snap in that game. I think that's the one contest that is really going to kind of haunt ASU. But in the grand scheme of things, I mean, you look at all the games they won, all the games they lost. I mean, the Stanford's the only game I can point to date that should have been a win. Otherwise, you just have a big talent deficiency against the rest of the Pac-12. You have, I believe, 5 teams in the top 25. So this is definitely a tough conference, at least in 2022. And if you're going to have issues like ASU, you probably picked a bad year to have them, just because you have nearly half of the league right now having pretty formidable season.
Hode, you just referenced Stanford. ASU in that game lost by 1 at Stanford there in Palo Alto. They lost 15-14. That was a couple weeks ago. Just 1 week ago, Washington State won 52-14 against that same Stanford team. When you look at that similar opponent comparison, it doesn't bode well for the Sun Devils. Washington State put up 52 points on a team the Sun Devils couldn't even get 2 touchdowns on, or more than 2 touchdowns on.
Well, look, I'm not here to disrespect Washington State by any means. I'll just say that the bar is pretty low when you're comparing your offense's output against Stanford, and I have no problems making the statement that Trent Bourget was the quarterback that ASU could have hung easily 30, 40 points on Stanford, because I saw what he did against Washington. I saw what he did against Colorado. And sure, those are bad defenses, but they're just the caliber of the Stanford defense. But I tell you what, Jack, this Washington State is, to borrow a Seinfeld term, a bizarro Washington State team, where the defense is all the rage up here in the Palouse. They're actually leading the Pac-12 with 20 points average. Really playing out of their minds. They're still at a 5-4 record, and I think it really attribute that more to the offense not being that typical explosive Washington State offense, which just rolls out of bed and just puts 30 points on the scoreboard right off the bat. So I think that the ASU defense, if they can shake off what was a rough outing against UCLA, especially in the first half, I think they can find some success against this Washington State offense, which is missing its left tackle is out for the year, and that offensive line is a mess as it is. But I'll tell you what, I said to me, the biggest matchup over here is Washington State defense against the ASU offense. And I'm not saying that UCLA and their defense, we're just a bunch of tomato cans out there in Sun Devil Stadium. But this is a much, much tougher team for Arizona State to play. If you look at the X's and O's, if there's one area of weakness for the Cougars, it's actually their safeties. And I think with the development of the tight ends being more incorporated in the passing game, if that is one element that can work in ASU's favor, I think they can find maybe one of the only shortcomings of this Washington State defense. But don't make any mistake. As much success as that Trent Bourget had in his 2 starts for Arizona State, I feel that today might be a much different story.
Hode, now I'm just thinking about Seinfeld. So the Sun Devil defense was definitely definitely needed some serenity now after giving up 571 yards, 402 on the ground. So as you referenced, and you mentioned that, hey, it's that ASU offense against that defense, but the Sun Devil defense, what does a defense do to rebound from a week like last week? Is it schematically changing anything? Is there a personnel change? Do the guys just need to try harder? I know I'm being a cliche right there, but what does the defense do to rebound against the Washington State this week, a team that put up 50-plus points a week ago?
Yeah, well, look, again, I just look at the body of work of Washington State, and again, not to belabor the point, but this is not an extremely explosive offense. I mean, nowhere near what ASU saw last week at Sun Devil Stadium with the Bruins. I feel that this is a Washington State offense, again, referring back to their issues on the offensive lines that now are exacerbated by injury. If ASU can truly be aggressive and put their quarterback Cam Ward under duress, I think that's exactly where they find success. He's a quarterback that he can hurt you if he has time to throw the ball. But it's been evident when you watch Washington State film this year that when that offensive line is really having issues with the pass rush with blitzes, that's an offense that really stalls. I mean, again, they just don't have the caliber of athletes like they had even just in the last few years, where actually they would punish you often with blitzes and extreme pressure. So to me, the ASU defense has to be really aggressive, and I know there has been an issue for most of the year. I mean, we've seen even on 3rd and 15, 3rd and 3. I'm sorry, you're seeing cornerbacks and safeties just displaying way deep in coverage, basically just begging the offense to make plays on you. So if you need any change of scheme, I would say that you definitely have to be more aggressive. I mean, don't be afraid to go cover zero more often than not, because again, this is a Washington State offense that when it does have to perform under duress, it simply does not perform that well.
Hode Rubino, Devil's Digest, joins us here to talk ASU football. And Hode, my question is, what have you been most impressed with Trenton Bourget? I mean, what an unbelievable story. Walk-on, comes into the role when Emory Jones is hurt, had some good wins. His offense seems to be flowing more. What have you been most impressed with for Trenton, and what do you think he can do today to get these Sun Devils a dub against Washington State?
Well, I guess when I'm impressed with Trenton Bourget, he's kind of like that Rudy, 5'0", 100 pounds, but just really plays within his skills, within his God-given talents. He's not a big RPO quarterback. He's not going to move the chains with his feet. He's simply going to really stay in the pocket and deliver the ball fast. And when he is able to do that, I know it was hard against UCLA last week, especially in the first half, but he did figure out in the second half. But when he can do that, he really is a very competent quarterback. So he definitely doesn't pass the quote unquote eye test. But in terms of just really operating efficiently and really, on the one hand, not being flashy with the way he plays, but then you look up the box score, and that guy's putting up hundreds and hundreds of yards of passing, 30, 40 points on the board. So that's what I really like about Trenton Bourget. I mean, not a big name, not an imposing figure, just really plays within his limitations and plays extremely effectively when he does that.
Wrapping up with Hode Rubino from Devil's Digest. He's in Pullman, Washington, getting ready for kickoff between ASU and Washington State. And Hode, I don't want to do a deep dive on everything that's going on non-football related to this team, because I don't know we have enough time, but a high level of assessment from you, Hode, just the toll that the uncertainty is taking for the long-term outlook of this team. Obviously, we still don't know the end result from the NCAA investigation. We've got the head coaching situation. Just, your thoughts on how important resolution to these lingering questions are for this program?
Well, I think it's not only resolution, it's actually quick resolution. And the issue is obviously between a rock and a hard place over here because they have an athletic director, Ray Anderson, who is basically on borrowed time in terms of his tenure of employment. It's not a matter of if he's going to be fired. It's a matter of when. It's a matter of how quick and lucrative of a buyout. It can be for both sides for that to happen. So under those circumstances, needless to say, it's really hard to recruit a head coach, especially a good high caliber head coach. But on the other hand, University President, Dr. Michael Crow can be really the de facto athletic director. I'm not saying running the athletic department, but basically in the capacity of the head coach. Say, look, I'm going to hire you. Okay, Ray Anderson is not going to be here for much long, and whomever we hire as an athletic director, I'm the one that's going to decide to keep you employed or not. It's not going to be the athletic director. And trust me, I mean, I know what I'm saying right now. This sounds bizarre on steroids, but I just feel like if Arizona State, that's the unconventional method that you have to take. But you're absolutely right. There is a large degree of uncertainty, and I'm wouldn't be surprised if that really is preventing Arizona State from getting a high caliber head coach. I mean, sure, you can get a young and up and comer. Under the circumstances, you can get somebody who's "quote unquote" desperate for a job under the circumstances. But to get that, just a really quality known name with a great track record is just really, really hard with the landscape in Tempe. So yes, I think it's definitely hurting the head coach's decision. And you also have to look at the transfer portal. I mean, obviously, not a lot of people are talking about it right now. But when the season ends, I mean, if you have some really good players out there, like Elijah Badger, or even take a kicker like Carter Brown. They want to know that they have a quality head coach in place before they make the decision about whether to stay put or whether they're going to transfer portal. So that is something that you definitely want to keep an eye on. But there's no doubt about it, guys. ASU is dealing with a really bad set of circumstances over here. Resolution has to happen quickly, and resolution has to be at a level where everybody feels comfortable, where the fan base is re-energized, and more importantly, that you're not losing that many quality players to the transfer portal. And yes, that's all easier said than done.
Yeah.
He's Hode Rubino, the longest tenured Sun Devil sports beat writer. Follow him on Twitter at Devil's Digest. Great coverage coming up from the game in Pullman this afternoon. Hode, as always, good stuff. We appreciate it. Enjoy the game. Travel home safe.
Thanks, you guys.
Hode Rubino, always great insight from Hode. Appreciate him making time for us right from the stadium there in Pullman. Follow them on Twitter at Devil's Digest. Get to see a nice picture of the stadium to start your football Saturday off. We'll step aside here. On the other side, somebody's going to win a gift card.
Whoa!
Because the performance of our next guest has been
He's terrible.
Awful. So what that means is if you get online now, 602-260-9191, you're going to win a $50 gift card to Best Deal AZ.
Yeah.
And your chance to win a big screen TV at the end of this football season. We'll step aside, and Jeff Hudzo joins us next.
got to take the points. Powered by the Sportsbook at CAC Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. Exclusively on Fox Sports 910.
You know, we haven't done yet. We haven't had breakfast yet. You guys had a bet.
I wonder who owes us breakfast.
I don't know whose day it is, but man,
You guys are breaking up. I can't hear you.
The breakfast
you guys
Sammy.
Going through a tunnel.
Breakfast Sammy, and you said you said you were looking at the steak and eggs.
The steak and eggs. I mean, Notre Dame to beat Clemson. Bauer 0 for 2 in his bets.
How dare you talk about all this Notre Dame shenanigans the day after Veterans Day, and they're playing one of the service academies in Navy. We should all be on Team Navy, Team Anti. Whatever the heck Notre Dame is going on, the ridiculous Golden Domers that damn upset last week.
Well, Team Navy is currently down 35-13 at halftime.
Yeah, well, okay. I mean, I'm not surprised by that, but I'm just saying, the team that I can't stand the most in all of college football got a really good win last week over Clemson.
Thanks again to Hode Rubino from Devil's Digest for joining us in our last segment as we wait for Jeff Hudzow. I was looking at the standings, guys, and we talked about this a little bit before Hode came on. With a win today, Washington State becomes bowl eligible, and they join Oregon State, Washington, Utah, UCLA, USC, and Oregon as the bowl eligible teams from the Pac-12. What a great year for the conference this year. A lot of attention gets put on this conference from, maybe one or two teams might be in that conversation. Yeah. Obviously, you've got UCLA, USC, and Oregon all sitting with one loss. But even down at the bottom half, to have Oregon State eligible already, to talk about Washington State. The flip side of that coin, unfortunately, ASU, Cal, Arizona, and Stanford all sitting at 3 and 6, having to run the table in order to get bowl eligible. But we'll jump out and welcome back to the program for his weekly segment. And I won't make fun of him at this point, but we'll leave that up to others. It's Jeff Hudzow. Jeff, it's Bauer Gross and Jackson. How are you today?
Boys, I am super excited for this weekend of college football.
And we got
ready to make these picks.
There you go. And we are supersizing the picks. We're going 4 games this week.
Why?
Because there's so many good games.
No.
We're also doing it maybe to give you guys a chance to catch up. Yeah. Whoever's leading the picks in the standings, that's me.
Everybody gets a participation trophy on this show.
Hey, nobody's getting a participation trophy in this. Alabama at number 11, Ole Miss. You got number 9 at number 11, Alabama, of course, reeling on the season, but Ole Miss plus 12 at home. Hudzow, how do you see this one coming panning out?
I love betting on Nick Saban, and I know Alabama is 5-0 in their last 5 against the spread after a loss. I think Ole Miss stinks. Give me Bama minus the points.
Bama minus the points. He's going with Bama. All right, let's go to the Pac-12. Washington at Oregon. Number 25, Washington at number 6, Oregon. Oregon laying 13.5, almost 2 touchdowns. What do you see, Hudzow?
My main pick helper at the store right now, AJ, tells me I should take Washington. And he is an ASU student, just like myself, going into sports journalism. I take the man at his word. I'm taking Washington lane, getting the points. Washington
with a handful of points in their back pocket at Oregon. All right, game day was in Austin, Texas again this year. They were there earlier. Alabama went to Texas, got the win. How about TCU driving down the road, heading down to Austin? TCU, number 4 TCU at number 18 Texas, but Texas is laying a touchdown, Hudzow.
Every week we ask, is Texas back? Texas is not back. Horns down, give me TCU.
Horns down. I guess horn frogs up, if you will. There's a lot of horns involved in this game today. All right, Jeff Hudzow, best deal in town, bestdealaz.com. Let's go to the league where they play for pay. The Arizona Cardinals at the Los Angeles Rams. Rams laying 3 at home tomorrow afternoon. What do you see from the now on Hard Knocks Arizona Cardinals?
I love dysfunction. I love watching car crashes, and I love Hard Knocks. I'm going to take the Rams, and I'm going to lay the home field 3 points. And I think there's no way on a neutral field that these two teams are equal. Give me the Rams.
Wouldn't that be a great episode to watch next week if the Rams beat the Cardinals? I mean, what a dysfunction! And what is Cliff Kingsbury going to say after if the Rams win. I agree with you, Hoodzo. That's a good pick.
He's Jeff Hoods. BestDealAZ.com is the website. And Jeff, somebody's going to maybe win a $50 gift card today. But if our listeners are out and about and needed something in the electronic arena, tell them what you got for them there.
So a lot of places, you have doorbusters on Black Friday. We actually started most of our Black Friday deals yesterday, our Veterans Day weekend deals. We got everything on sale. If you need a big TV, if you need a MacBook, if you need an iPad, if you just want to come and hang out and watch LSU and Arkansas, don't, because we don't want you to hang out with us. But if you want to buy something, we are open till 7. And if you mentioned you take the points, I'm gonna take an extra $50 off a TV over 65 inches. How about that? I'm just making sales up on the fly, boys.
I love it. He's with us every Saturday at this time. Jeff, good stuff. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, guys.
BestDealAZ.com. And you heard him. Get out there. Go see him. You get $50 off a TV over 65 inches.
Just make sure to mention the best radio program in the history of the world. Take the points.
There you go. All right, that's going to about do it for hour number 1. We're going to go look and see what the deal is with the breakfast Sammys or whatever it is.
Steak and eggs.
Steak
the
and eggs.
sirloin steak, Mr. Bauer.
Hour number 2, we got Marco D'Angelo from WagerTalk.com coming up and plenty more. We'll be right back on Fox Sports 910.
powered by the Sportsbook at CAC Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. Your home for uncensored sports betting opinions, analysis, and advice. The guys have you covered for all the games. Now, take the points on Fox Sports 910 and the iHeartRadio app.
Hey, you want to be entertained? Give us a follow on Twitter at Fox 910 Saturday, and we live stream this show. You can see the feed right now. You see the table here at the CAZ Sports Bar pre-breakfast, Sammy. It gets messy once they deliver food. But happy you could join us. We're taking up to 1 o'clock today here at the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar. Come on in, check it out. If you walk in and look to the left, you'll see us doing our show here.
Hi.
If you look to the right, you see the Sportsbook.
There it is.
The windows are wide open. Great staff of people here to take care of you. And we always say, check your schedules. Don't walk in here like 30 seconds before kickoff and think you're going to run to the window. There could be a line. There could be other things going on. Plan accordingly. Get out here half hour before the games. Have your homework done. Go see the good folks at the window there at the Sportsbook. And if you're one of those people that know exactly what you're doing, you got cash in hand, you're ready to go, self-service kiosks on the other side. Well, those are open 24/7. The windows for the games open an hour beforehand. But CAZ Sports Bar, the Sportsbook here, full service. They'll take great care of you. And then once you're done with your business at the window or at the kiosk, settle in at the bar, settle in at one of the tables. They got a great food and drink specials going on. Wonderful service. Great people working out here as well. CAZ Sports Bar, Casino, Arizona. We love coming here every Saturday. Come on out and see us. We'll be here till 1 o'clock. They're here till all the games are done. But what I thought we'd do here, guys, and I was talking to you. You both had your headsets on. I had my headset off. Do a quick pass at the scoreboard, Jackson, as there's only a few games in the top 25 right now that are interesting.
But, man, what an afternoon slate. That's one of the reasons why we have 4 games that we're picking this week is because we got ourselves a hell of a college football Saturday, a little light in the morning action. But this afternoon, let's go. Quote Jackson.
Which we enjoy because those afternoon games will turn into night games. That's when more of the fans get excited. But, yeah, like you said, Gross, the early games we have here, Ohio State's up 28-7, currently driving on Indiana.
So not covering the spread yet of 40 points.
Correct. Okay. A number 20 Notre Dame is winning 35-13.
Boo.
They're currently, I believe they're almost covering. They might be covering. I think it's 15.5.
You are correct, 15.5.
15.5, so they are covering.
Damn.
And they blew away, excuse me, I'm sorry, Jackson, 39.5. If you took the over on that one, you blew that one away.
Yeah. 5 Tennessee Missouri at 5 Tennessee. They're up 28-17 at halftime. A closer game than most expected. I believe the spread there was 19, if I'm correct.
20.5 was the spread on that one.
And then a close one that not a lot of people expected to be this close. LSU, number 7 LSU, is up 6-3 at Arkansas. 9:41 left in the third quarter. And then Purdue.
Looking great for any underbetters, by the way.
Yeah. 62.5 on that. Man. Like,
let's go. You got the under. You're already starting to buy stuff.
Purdue and number 21 Illinois. It's currently tied. Third quarter is about to start here soon. That's a big game, guys, because the Big Ten West, if Purdue wins, they beat Illinois. They'll be tied in the Big Ten West.
What does it matter? What matters? There's nothing about the Big Ten West that is relevant to anyone's college football world.
I agree.
Because whoever it is going to lose by 35 points in the Big Ten championship game to Michigan or Ohio State.
Michigan.
Or Ohio State.
Michigan.
Ohio State. Probably going to be Ohio State.
Could be either one.
Which I saw an early spread on Ohio State, Michigan. They got 8.5 favored by Ohio State. Early spread right now.
That game is in Columbus this year, so it's not up in Ann Arbor. It's at the Horseshoe, so that's you're getting 3 points for home.
And they're still smarting over the way they got rolled last year.
You're also a few weeks away from that, so that we're not there yet. But I mean, Jackson, I know you're doing a great job. You're trying to make it interesting, but that is not relevant to anyone's college football. Look, that's cute that Illinois is having a good season. They celebrated being bowl eligible just the way Kansas did the other day. That's a bad football program over years that is rejoicing in the fact that they're having a pretty good season. But the Big Ten West, who cares? It doesn't matter.
Maybe that one guy out there, the Illinois fan or the Purdue fan, cares out there. You never know.
But that's great. I mean, they're going to end up playing in like the Outback Bowl or something like that, or the the Citrus Bowl or whatever.
I
They're
look
going
at-
to play in a lower level bowl game after getting smoked by Michigan or Ohio State.
I get it. If you're an Illinois fan, it's all about performance versus expectation. If you're an Illinois football fan and you're sitting at 7-2 in November, even with an ass whooping, can I say that on the radio?
Oh, yeah.
Looming
did.
from Ohio State or Michigan.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
You would take that all day, and you would gladly play a New Year's Day game in Florida for an Illinois fan. One other game to get to in the top 25, the lone team on the short side of the scoring board right now, Kentucky, at home, trailing to Vanderbilt, 14-6 midway through the third in that one. Kentucky was an 18-point favorite in that game.
That's a baseball school visiting a basketball school right there in SEC football.
Yeah. Hey, but this afternoon slate, I'm going to go through the afternoon slate. You guys kind of give me your thoughts.
Bro, this is a good slate.
Yeah. So besides the games that we're picking later,
okay,
I want to hear your thoughts on each of these top games that we go
over on all of them. I'm taking the over on every one.
So
points, baby. Let's go.
Alabama at 11. Ole Miss over under is at 65. Alabama favored by 11 there. You said you like the over on that one.
I'm taking the over on literally every game the rest of the day.
Okay.
I just want points. I'm actually not betting on that.
How do we feel about Alabama right now, though? Because you know, obviously in November when you're talking about a 2-loss Alabama team, and then around it you're starting to see little cracks in the facade where people are questioning Coach Saban. You know, former players, you know, on the outside looking in, saying that, you know, maybe the game is starting to pass him by with the whole NIL and everything like that. I mean, they're still Alabama. They're still a really good program.
They're still going to be in the college football playoff because they're Alabama, probably.
Yeah,
I know. I'm kidding.
This is probably the most undisciplined team. When, like you said, Gross, every single road game that they've had, I believe they've had at least 9 penalties for around 80 to 90 yards. So it's something that not a lot of Alabama, not a lot of college football fans expect from an Alabama Crimson Tide team with Nick Saban. You would think they'd be more disciplined, but
hey, but they are laying 11 at Ole Miss, so they're in Oxford, they're on the road, and they're still laying 11 at an 8-1 Ole Miss team. So this is absolutely, Ole Miss is at home. Ole Miss has only 1 loss on the season, but it still is big bad Alabama. It's still big bad Bama going in there laying 11 points in that one.
Yeah, and some other games I want to talk about. 22 UCF at 17 Tulane at 1:30. Now, this is a big game for the American Athletic Conference. Obviously, UCF 22 not favored in this matchup. They're the underdog by 1.5 points with Tulane. Interesting game. Obviously, the American Athletic doesn't get talked about, but the winner of that game and the winner of that conference will get a non-Power 5 bid probably for a big game.
Listen, I mean, all week long, I've been hearing about all this blue wave, about this red wave stuff. That's politics. Let's talk about the green wave right here. Tulane having themselves a year. That's way more relevant.
Well, this is a team.
Forget the politics wave. We got football wave in the house right here. Tulane's 8-1, guys.
And this was a program that was on life support not too long ago. In terms of, was this going to be a college football program that survived?
JP Lossman,
right, and so now you're sitting at 8-1. You're talking, 5-0 in the conference. You got guys in Phoenix, Arizona, talking about the green wave.
Hey,
I love stories like that. I don't know how good this team is. I don't know anything about this football program.
They're 8-1.
But when you see a team like Tulane in the conversation this late, I think that's cool. I like it.
Guys, I'm a little disappointed in ESPN. I'm a little disappointed in game day.
Why?
They went back to Texas. I know it's a good game. I know we got number 4 TCU. They're undefeated. They're at number 18 Texas. Game day was in Austin earlier this year.
Make the case.
Let's go to New Orleans for UCF Tulane, the former national champions in UCF. They'll tell you. They got a banner at Tulane. It would have been fun to get this thing in the Big Easy there at Benson Field. Let's go.
That's what I was going to say. Make the case. If you're in the war room at ESPN where you guys, I don't know, like Sunday morning after the Saturday game, where are we going?
Where are we going?
And I get it. Like Austin is an easy one, right? People are begging for Texas to be relevant again. That's the best 6-3 team in the country maybe. But I love the offbeat stuff that they do.
If you can get down to New Orleans,
go to New Orleans.
Come on,
take that crew to New Orleans, and the fun you would have with that. I think that would be a great.
Yeah, I think what makes that show so unique is they go to different places, and I agree with you. Tulane would be something special. Big noon kickoff. They only go to Ohio State and Michigan, which they're not even irrelevant at all. They're not even relevant. I agree with you guys. I'd love to see him go to another place. Well, another place that game day went to.
Yep.
Probably one of the bigger games, biggest game of the Pac-12 today.
Oh, yeah.
5 p.m. on Fox, 25 Washington at 6 Oregon. -12, Oregon is favored. And like you said, Gross, the over-under is 72.5.
That's a lot of points, man.
That's a lot of points. No defense there. We'll see how Oregon defense does against Michael Penix, who's having a great season. But Bo Nix, Heisman campaign so far.
Bo Nix at home too. I mean, over the course of his career, Bo Nix at home. So this is a big Bo Nix game in terms of him being at home there at Autzen. I mean, one of the most rowdy places in the country, obviously in the conference as well. But Washington going on the road at Oregon, 72.5. Oregon laying 12 in this game. We're going to get our picks in that one. That's one of our games that we're picking later in the show.
And then probably the biggest game of the whole day, number 4 TCU at 18 Texas at 5:30 on ABC. Folks, Texas is favored by 7. Now, I don't know if the Sportsbook knows something that we don't know as a nation, as the United States of America, because I've never seen TCU, a team that's 4th ranked in the country, favored by 7. Bauer, I mean, what do you?
Oh, I'm having flashbacks to the 4th-ranked Clemson team going on the road and losing last week. So
True.
I believe that's why you're leading me to the water here. Look, TCU on the season, granted, they're perfect. They're perfect 9-0 on the season, but they beat some teams. They beat some good teams this year. You're talking about a win over, at the time, number 18 Oklahoma, going on the road to, at the time, number 19 Kansas. When they beat Oklahoma State in double overtime, that was an 8th-ranked Oklahoma State team. They followed that up 4 weeks in a row that they beat top 20 teams, not even top 25. They followed up Oklahoma, Kansas, Oklahoma State, then at home against K-State, a team that had jumped up to 17, and they won by 10 the last couple weeks. They've made it look a little bit easier. Again, another 10-point win at West Virginia, another 10-point win against Texas Tech. This TCU team is putting up points left and right. They got 50 burgers a couple times this year, but 4 of their wins this year are against teams that have lost by at least 2 touchdowns last year, and they have bounced back. This is a fun football team this year, the Horned Frogs.
Still to come on the show, Marco D'Angelo from wagertalk.com. He'll be by in about 10 minutes or so. We'll step aside here, take care of some business. On the other side, more from the CAZ Sports Bar, Casino, Arizona on Fox Sports 910. Hey, don't forget, AZTV Channel 7 is your home for the best college football. Today's game is at 3 o'clock. Albany State at Florida A&M. And you want to tune in for that one. I watched it. Charlie Neal does the play-by-play. It's awesome. And as we said, Channel 7 is your home for college football here in Arizona, featuring schools that have produced some of the game's best athletes, great football, high-energy halftime bands, and coverage you won't find on any other station. That's AZTV, Channel 7. Kickoff 3 o'clock, Albany State and Florida A&M today. All right, guys, we've talked a lot of college football today, and we'll get back to it a little bit. But let's take a quick peek at the National Football League and the schedule of games coming up tomorrow. And we talked a little bit about it. Tomorrow, the Cardinals travel to L.A. They play the Los Angeles Rams. And I haven't seen an update. I did see that Matthew Stafford was in concussion protocol. I don't know what the latest on that one is.
He entered concussion protocol on Tuesday, which is technically the NFL's off day. So he entered that on Tuesday. It was announced, head coach Sean McVay mentioned on Wednesday that he went into that concussion protocol. And, he's had a disappointing season, to be quite honest.
Well, the whole Rams
especially
thing.
consider last week, I said this a couple times last week on Sirius and CBS Sports Radio as I was working for them on Sunday. Is that last week the Rams and the Bucks was the matchup of the most disappointing teams in the NFL this year. If
I were to sit here when we started this show in the fall, and I said, guys, on November 12th, I'm going to tell you that one team in the the NFC West has 3 wins, the Cardinals or the Rams, who would you have picked?
Cardinals.
I wouldn't have said both.
No. Right.
I would have,
because that's your correct answer.
Given those options, I probably would have said the Cardinals.
Well,
just
DeAndre
because
Hopkins didn't play. I mean, yeah.
No DeAndre Hopkins and the start of the season. The Cardinals, the way the schedule looked for the Cardinals going into the season, forget the disappointing losses that we've seen recently, but going into the season, they had a tough start to the season. And in terms of the NFC West, if you would have told me this, I wouldn't expect the Seahawks to be easily at the top of the division.
2 games clear of the 49ers right now. And you're looking at this week in the NFL, the best game of the week, Minnesota at Buffalo.
Well, it all depends on if Josh Allen's playing. That to me is what it comes down to. And it's not one of those situations like in the NCAA where, hey, we're playing a directional school this week.
No.
By any means, this could be the best game in the NFL, probably the best game we've seen since the Bills-Chiefs game a few weeks ago. But also, if you're the Bills, you go, hey, look, we're playing a Vikings team that's very, very good, 7-1 on the season, and this is a great matchup, 2 of the best teams. But if you're the Bills, you go, look, 1 loss here. If we don't have Josh Allen, but we have him the rest of the season, this could be one of those situations where it's better for your team as a whole to give the potential MVP a break.
I want Josh Allen to play, but you know what would be interesting?
We all want him to play.
How about Case Keenum, Stephon Diggs against their old team? They connected on the Minneapolis Miracle, facing the Vikings. I would love to see Case Keenum in this game personally. And I don't think the Bills are in that bad of a situation with Case Keenum at the helm. I think he's a good quarterback, good backup quarterback, but obviously not as good as Josh Allen. But we will have to see about that as Buffalo's favored by 3 in this matchup. Over-unders at 42.5.
Yeah, I agree with what you said, though, about the Bills right now. If it's even close, you don't risk it because you've got a home game against an NFC team that you want to win them all, but that's not going to matter when it comes down to things at the very end if there's questions about whether or not you win your division or the conference.
Hey, and that's one of those things, anytime that you're looking at wagering on a game, how much does the line move, especially if you're talking about Josh Allen or no Josh Allen? That makes a monster difference. This is a game where if you look at where this opened at Buffalo minus at some books 9, 8, 7.5, and now we're looking at as we go and you grab the sheet. Every day when we walk in here at the CAC Sports Bar, the first move is walk up to the windows and grab the sheets. And you look at it, guys, we're looking at this game as 3.5 right now. This is a game that at the beginning, when this baby opened, you're looking at 7.5. That has now moved 4 points. If it is for sure that Josh Allen is out, then you're going to potentially get some great value depending on if you get in and get and you guys hear me talk about this all the time when you're talking about wagering on games. When you're talking about putting your hard-earned money on an over-under, when you're talking about or a spread, not just who you're betting on, but when you're betting can be very, very important. Because at the beginning, I mean, if all of a sudden you're getting 7.5, and you're the Vikings, and now you're only getting 3 if you're a Vikings bettor, that makes a big difference.
100%.
I mean, if you're getting more than a touchdown, getting a touchdown and a hook. So if you were on Minnesota early in the week, and you're hoping that Josh Allen is out because you got 7.5 in your back pocket, that's you're loving it. It's always really important when you bet, not just who you're betting on.
And then Monday night here at the CAZ Sports Bar Casino, Arizona, you've got the Commanders and the Eagles. Eagles a double-digit favorite, 11-0 as they look to extend their undefeated season. The over-under in that one, 43.5.
Yeah, Taylor Heineke, I believe, is undefeated against the spread this season when he started for the Commanders as well.
What's the jackpot at right now?
Oh, it's at 2,000, I believe, 125. So it's rising.
And it just goes. It goes up
It
and
goes.
up and up.
And the nice thing about it is, if you're new to this whole thing, if the jackpot doesn't get given away, get one, whatever. If it's not one during the shows here,
if Jackson isn't handing out cash
at the CAZ Sports Bar, we roll that over, and the Super Bowl shows that we do, that jackpot goes there. And if there's no kickoff return in the Super Bowl, Rock walks around handing out cash to everybody. Well, not just that way, but there's a little
bit. Rock, because I've done it too.
There's a little bit of science to it.
Hey,
but
here's $100 in your hand right now.
Yeah. So stick with us all year. But again, Monday night, the Commanders and the Eagles right here from CAZ Sports Bar. Doors open at 5 o'clock. Look forward to seeing you out here with us. All right, we'll step aside here on the other side. Woo! We head to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
We're the 3 best friends, and we're going to visit with our good friend, Marco D'Angelo from WagerTalk.com. That's coming up next.
Bar's resident handicapper, Marco D'Angelo of WagerTalk.com, joins us now on Fox Sports 910.
You're live.
Welcome back. It's that time of the week again. We head up to Las Vegas. Say hello to our good friend and regular contributor to the show. It's Marco D'Angelo. Found him on Twitter at Marco in Vegas, the website WagerTalk.com. Marco, how are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
We're doing good, and we appreciate you each and every week spending time with us and sharing the love and sharing the knowledge with our listeners, and we'll jump right into it. A game that we talked about a little bit earlier on the show, Marco. We're a little bit confused, and we know you're gonna break it down for us. But coming up this evening on ABC in Austin, Texas, you've got the battle between TCU and Texas. TCU comes into this one undefeated at 9-0, ranked number 4 in all the land. Texas is 6-3, 4-2 in the Big 12. I don't understand it. The guys here don't understand it. Texas is a 7-point favorite in this one, with the over-under sitting at 66.5 points. Marco, we usually say break it down for us. This time we're going to say help us understand.
Well, I'll be honest with you guys. Whenever the lines came out last week, at the beginning of the week, and I looked, I had to go back and double check. You know, I'm getting old. My eyesight's a little bad. I had to double check that this number was correct. I've been a guy that is kind of bashed TCU a good bit this year. I picked some spots where I took the dog against them and, covered with the spread, but, obviously they didn't win the game. And the situation is, guys, is that, I'm just disrespecting TCU. Well, Vegas is disrespecting TCU this week, and for good reason. Guys, this TCU defense is bad. They've got a great offense. They go up and down the field, but they have benefited by the offense, and they've benefited in some of these games on being the right side of the turnover margin. You're going to do that against Texas. Texas can match them point for point offensively. The difference in this game is the two defenses. Texas has a defense. TCU doesn't. You look at TCU, and they are number 4 in the country offensively at 43 points per game. However, defensively, they're ranked 75th in the country, allowing 26.9 per game. They're allowing 5.6 yards per play. Texas is ranked 25th defensively, and they will slow this team down. Plus the fact you're playing on the road, you're playing a night game. And I always look at these games when you've got a noon start versus a 7:30 local time start. It's a different atmosphere. Everybody's been in the parking lot for 6 hours, pre-gaming, might have a couple adult beverages. I hear that happens once in a while, and it's just a different atmosphere. And then you've got the team coming in that's undefeated. You've got an opportunity to, crush their dreams of the undefeated season and make it. Now that TCU is ranked 4th, it puts even more pressure on this team. It's one thing when they're undefeated and they're still on the outside looking in. Now, they've got their place at the table. They got the reservation. All they have to do is win. That sounds easier than, getting it done. So it puts more pressure on these kids to continue that undefeated season. Texas, this is a spot last week. We had them big, and they had to end up sweating it in the second half because Sarkisian really made some bonehead decisions offensively. They ran for 220 yards in the first half last week against Kansas State. And for whatever reason, he came out in the second half and decided to throw the football and had a couple 3-and-outs to start the second half when you were just dominating them on the ground. I expect him to stay with the game plan this week, keep that TCU offense at bay. The best way to keep an offense from scoring is to keep your offense on the field. Look for long drives from Texas. This will be a shootout because they can score quickly. They have big play capabilities. Both quarterbacks are having outstanding seasons, but I'm going with Texas. I'm laying the 7. I actually gave it to my clients where it got Texas winning 41-31. Should be a fun game, but the clock strikes midnight for Cinderella TCU.
Wow, there you go. So the Cinderella team catching 7, potentially 7 and change and all that. But man, the clock strikes midnight. I love that, Marco. Marco D'Angelo, Wager Talk. You can follow him on Twitter at Marco in Vegas. Follow Wager Talk, of course, their website, wagertalk.com. You can follow him on Twitter at Wager Talk. Great podcasts all throughout the week, especially Marco's in the middle of the week. But Marco, let's take a look at 2 of the most disappointing teams, not just in the division, potentially in the entire NFL. Frustration for the Cardinals. The Rams are a mess. These 2 teams, a lot of people thought that, a return trip to the Super Bowl for the Rams. The Cardinals were hoping to build on a playoff season from last year. Now, the season's not over by any means, but lots of disappointment for these 2 fan bases and these teams as the 3-6 Cardinals visit the 3-5 Rams tomorrow afternoon. The Rams right about a field goal favorite or so, with the total hovering around 43-ish in Cardinals at Rams. Marco, what are you seeing from this NFC West battle tomorrow?
Yeah, well, the first thing we've seen the total come down with the news, Matthew Stafford being a game-time decision. We're probably not going to know if he's cleared to play until about 90 minutes before game time. So we've seen this total move from 43 to 40 because obviously the Rams have been having as much trouble scoring as the Cardinals have, and if you take Stafford out of the equation, that should be even tougher. You talk about disappointing. Arizona has really disappointed me. We've used them a few times here on the show when I thought they had some good spots, and they're ruining my record. I'm not happy with them. We take pride in our record. And last week was yeah, at least I won't be getting fired, but possibly he might. This is a spot where I'm looking here at the Rams with all of their woes that they're having this season. Even though history-wise they have owned Arizona. Do you realize that since 2017, the Rams are 12-1 straight up against Arizona? That's been a complete domination, and it's been a weird division where, the Rams own the Cardinals. The Cardinals own the 49ers. And it's just different teams own different teams in the division. It doesn't make sense. But I think it's going to stop tomorrow. I got to look at Arizona here. They showed signs of life with the offense 2 games in a row and that's why I liked them last week. In the rematch against Seattle, the Seattle defense had not been playing that well. They've been, winning. They've been scoring points, but I thought Arizona with Hopkins back now would be able to move the football against Seattle, and they took a big step backwards last week. Murray was 25 of 35, good percentage completion-wise, but just 140 yards passing. You've got to do better than that. I think they can do it because the Rams are going to have trouble moving the football. If you look at this team, they have struggled even more than Arizona. They have scored 14 or less points in 4 of their last 5 games. And that triggers a stat for us. I know you guys love when I find a stat for you. Here's one for you when you take, and this is league-wide in the NFL, over the last 5 seasons. If you play against a team that is favored, which the Rams are favored in this game by the field goal, and they're averaging 17 points or less on the season, blindly going against those teams, you'd be 26-7 against the spread the last 5 years. Now, we even find another angle that says to go against the Rams laying points. Defending Super Bowl champs that are a divisional home favorite and they're laying 4 or less, this is an angle that has gone 9-19-1 playing those teams. So you flip that around playing against them, you're looking at a 19-9 against the spread. Those are 2 strong angles that point to Arizona in this game. I'm going to go ahead and do it. I think Arizona's got more offensive firepower in this game. It is a revenge game. They lost the first meeting. And as I said, history has said that they haven't fared well against the Rams, but if they're ever going to win a game, this is the one they've got to win. And if they do have to go with the backup quarterback, you've got a huge drop-off for Matthew Stafford, even if he is banged up, this season and having an off year. Let's go with Arizona. It's not going to be an exciting game, but I'm going to take Arizona to get the job done, 23-20. Call it the Cardinals on Sunday.
Wow, there you go, Marco. He is Marco D'Angelo. Follow him on Twitter at Marco in Vegas. The website is wagertalk.com. And Marco, everything going on, and then you add college basketball into the mix on top of everything else. Great time to be a sports fan and a great time to follow wagertalk.com.
Yeah, it's not a good time if you like to sleep a lot. For me, all 4 speeds. It's a busy time of the year, but it is fun, and that's where you find, value in the numbers, because just as hard as it is for us looking at all of these games, the bookmakers have to put up numbers on all of these games. And let's be honest, they do make mistakes too, and it's my job to find those mistakes and cash in for our clients. But yes, follow us on Twitter, and I say it every week. Download the app, Wager Talk TV app. You can get all of the shows in one convenient place and go back and watch the archives. And, I always say it, my favorite show, the one in the middle, bet on it on Wednesday night.
There you go.
I've got the app too. And let me tell you, Marco, you do a great job over there. I love tuning in every single week.
I appreciate it, guys.
Hey, and real quickly, I'm not very good at this stuff. Just listen to my picks at the end. But somebody was asking me about, what does a money line mean? And I was trying to explain. I'm like nuts to this. I sent them a link to Sports Betting 101 at wagertalk.com. I said, here's everything you need to know. Take your cues from the experts. So even if you're new to this, a lot of people in Arizona are, wagertalk.com covers you there as well. Marco, good stuff as always. We'll do it again next Saturday.
All right, appreciate it, and let's cash some tickets.
Marco D'Angelo, wagertalk.com. I love it. All the info he gives us. Like I'm Bauer's watching me. I'm trying to write it down. I'm scrolling out notes here.
Well, Gross, see, here's the thing. For our listeners, he scribbles down Marco's information this segment, and then this son of a gun tries to pawn it off as his own research next segment. This happens every week. To anyone watching on Twitter, anybody listening right now, you understand. To anybody who's just tuning in next segment, they're going to be like, man, Mike Gross does
He knows what he's talking about. He's got some good research.
Oh, man. Or he's just writing down what Marco says and then pawning it off as his own research. He's copying off his classmates' homework.
Plagiarism.
Or he's smart enough to know, why do we bring Marco on? Not because he's a nice guy.
He is a nice guy.
He is a nice guy, yeah.
But that's not why we bring him. There's lots of nice guys that don't get to call into our radio show every week. We bring him on because he is a nice guy, and he gives you great information. And so if I get great information, isn't that the point? Use it. Like if I walk up to the Sportsbook and take Marco's advice, he said Texas, we'll cover that 7. He said Texas 41, TCU 31. Should I not use that when I walk up to the Sportsbook here and place my bet at Casino Arizona?
I think that's valuable information.
Thank you. Point made. We'll go to break on that note. We'll be right back and make our picks as we wrap up today's show right here on Fox Sports 910.
Sportsbook at CAC Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona, exclusively on Fox Sports 910.
Sit down.
He's not talking to me. I'm
No.
sitting.
We're back.
I'm fat and lazy.
Come on,
I'm not
it's
getting up.
Saturday. Let's get up, baby.
Jackson's dancing.
Hey, it's never a bad time to it's never a bad time to grill.
Oh,
And it might be your time to upgrade your backyard grill situation. Your chance to win a new one is now. Just text PEAKS, PEAKS, to 55678. That's PEAKS to 55678. And you'll be entered in to win a customized backyard grill patio set courtesy of Twin Peaks, Blue Moon, and Coors Light. You can enter once a day. Standard data rates may apply.
all right. So what am I texting? Peaks.
PEAKS.
Okay, I'm going to do it right now.
To 55678.
Oh,
you
that's easy to remember.
are not eligible to win. All
All right.
right.
Wait, why not?
This is the time of the. If
I'm
I have to
texting-
play two,
I'm texting right now. I'm going to figure out. Maybe I am.
this is
I
where
just
we make
texted.
our picks. And apparently, the suits in the corporate office were disappointed with people on the bottom half of the bracket not carrying their weight. So we added another game. Woo! Just to give them a chance to catch up.
Wait. And who's on the bottom of the stand? Well, Jackson.
Well-
actually, Jackson, you should give us an update on the standings, buddy.
Yeah, dude, let's get the standings.
Well, I mean, not going too hot for myself.
just read the
rookie,
numbers, Jackson.
And for myself, coming into this show, I didn't want to be, the top guy early. I kind of wanted to earn my stripes, come in, maybe slow start early and come back in the end. But yeah, I'm currently in third place, 14-24-1. Don't listen to me. But Gross and Bauer are both up. Gross at 20-18-1 is in second place, and Bauer, I believe Bauer is 6-0 these last 2 weeks, 25-13-1.
How can you be 6-0 but still have to buy breakfast the last 2 weeks?
That is true. That's a great point there, Gross.
Yeah,
I'd tank it on one of these picks and make sure you don't buy breakfast next week.
I am 6-0, but I've bought breakfast for you guys the last 2 weeks because I've lost friendly lunch wagers over here. Now, granted, I've bought breakfast, but here at lunchtime because you can get breakfast on Saturdays and Sundays here at CAZ Sports Bar.
All right, here we go. Let's do this.
All right, I guess I'll drive it. Your guys' picks
You
aren't
say
in the
that every
sheets.
week. Just get used to it. You're like, oh, I guess I'll do this. Just do the thing.
All righty. Our first game, folks, we're going college football. We're doing 3 college football, 1 NFL, 9 Alabama at 11 Ole Miss. Ole Miss is the 12-point underdog. 63.5 is the total in this game. Alabama minus 12 is my pick. I think they come back. I think they roll this Ole Miss team. It's not going to be close, folks. Nick Saban's pissed. Crimson Tide is mad. Alabama minus 12.
I don't know what's going to happen, win or loss, and that 11 number scares me. And somebody said, Marco was talking about it, weird things at night. You're in the SEC. So that 11 or 12-point number scares me, but I like the over in this game. So give me the over 63.5. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this one, and I will take it and run with it.
Okay.
All right. So, when you take a look at this one, Alabama 7-1 straight up in its last 8 games at Ole Miss. You got an Ole Miss team that can score. They're averaging 37.4 points a game. Give me the over in this one, guys. I'm going with the over. I told you I'm loving the overs right now. Give me the over in this game.
You did say
I'm
that.
taking the over. Let's see, 63.5. It was earlier in the week. Let's see. Let's find the old Ole Miss. I got the sheet right here. So we got whatever it is. I don't care. I'm taking the over. I don't care.
Yeah, you did say earlier you were going to take the over for all the afternoon games.
Well, I said that just in general when we were talking. That wasn't just my pick. So, but I did want to take a look and see what the numbers, because I know for the next game the numbers have moved considerably. When we posted this earlier in the week, we were looking at 13.5. We're at 12 points now on this next game, Jackson.
Speaking of 13.5, let's make our way from the south to the northwest. 25 Washington at 6 Oregon. Oregon favored in this matchup by 12 now.
That's what I just said. Thank you for listening.
12. The over-under is 72.5. I'm going Oregon minus 12 here. I think it's a tough place to play at Autzen. I like Washington's offense. Michael Penix Jr. has been having a great season. Bo Nix has been having an even better season at home. I like the Ducks in this matchup. Gross?
I'm with you on that one. This is a tough place to go, and I think Oregon is probably the class of the Pac-12 right now, and I will go ahead and lay those 12 points. Give me Oregon.
Guys, when you take a look at this, the over is 5-0 in Oregon's last 5 home games. Give me the over in this one. I'm taking the over 72.5 or so. Give me the over in this one. That's 2 overs in a row. I wonder what the next 2 games could hold.
I'm sensing a trend out of you.
I have such a lead over you guys. I can goof around right now. That's all I'm saying.
All right, he's getting a little cocky. Well, another team that's getting a little.
Hey, I'm sorry. I'm 25-13-1. You guys are trailing the player.
Okay, all right. All right, now the top game of the day, folks. For TCU at 18, Texas. Texas favored in this matchup by 7, which is surprising to us. Marco talked about why that was there. He talked about TCU's defense struggling. He talked about Texas's run game excelling. 65 is the total in this matchup. This will be 5:30 at ABC. Kirk Herbstreit, Chris Fowler on the call. I'm going TCU plus 7 here. I just think it's a lot of points. I don't know if Texas – I think Texas will win the game, but I think it's going to be a field goal game. I like TCU plus 7.
I think the TCU defense is a fraud. And Marco said that when he was on with us. And I went back and looked at it, and their schedule is not the best schedule out there. They are undefeated, but even in those games against teams like Colorado, teams they played earlier, they gave up a ton of points. I like Texas. I'm going to go ahead and lay those 7 points. I think Texas covers that easily. I like Texas in this one. Make it 41-31. Texas over TCU.
All right, guys. The under is 5-1 in Texas' last 6 home games. Give me the over, baby. Let's go. Over all day, every day. Let's go.
3 for 3 for Bauer.
Hey, I'm sorry. I have such a sizable lead over you guys in points. We're going overs on all 3 college games. But I don't know. I mean, the Cardinals-Rams, that game, that line's moving quite a bit. Let's see what happens next.
The 3-6 Cardinals at 3-5 Rams. Who would have thought both of these teams in a must-win game if they want to make it to the playoffs?
Whatever.
This is a must-win. This is a must-win for either or. Yes, it is.
It's not.
It's
an important football game.
Go ahead.
It's a must-win.
What do you got, Jackson?
Rams favored in this matchup by 3. Over-under total is at 40. I like the Rams -3 in this matchup. I just think the Cardinals got too much going on internally with Hard Knocks, everything going on. Sean McVay is a better coach. At the end of the day, when it comes down to him versus Cliff, I think he excels in this game. I think Aaron Donald is going to I think Aaron Donald is going to wreak havoc. I like Rams -3.
Hey, since 2017, the Rams are 12-1 straight up against Arizona. Give me the Rams. The Rams are winning tomorrow.
I don't even want to ask Bauer what his pick is.
I'm going to shock you guys.
You going to take the over?
I'm going to take the over in this one. I was thinking under, but it has moved now. Matthew Stafford, if he's out, I'm not worried. Over.
There you go.
I got 4 overs, y'all. Let's go.
Hey, if Bauer hits all 4 of these,
points all day, baby.
If Bauer hits all 4 of these, I will buy you lunch for the next 2 weeks.
I like it. Next 2 weeks.
Next 2 weeks. You don't owe me anything. It's just one-side bet.
That's going to do it for today's show. Thanks to everybody out here at CAZ Sports Bar Casino, Arizona.
Give it up.
Thanks to Hode Rubino, Marco D'Angelo, Jeff Hood's our guest today. And great job by Ryan back at the studio. Keep us on air. It sounded good.
No.
We'll be out of here, but we'll see you next Saturday from CAZ Sports Bar Casino, Arizona.